Hey there, I thought for my very first video ever, I might show you how to cope a piece of crown molding. And so what I have here is a scrap piece I'll work with, and it's a pretty typical profile. Very often in this profile, most of the time, if installed correctly, this little cove thing here is at the bottom of the crown when it's installed. And so the first step you got to take when you're trying to cope a piece of molding like this, or not say it another way, to cut the profile of the surface of the molding into the end, is flip it over and cut a 45-degree miter in one end of the board. And so that's what I'm going to do now here. You can see I have it upside down on the saw. I very carefully press it into place firmly such that you know, it's as if it's installed upside down on the saw, and then cut away. Okay, once that cut is done, you'll see I have, because this is pre-painted or pre-primed in some cases, I have a very distinct line that follows that where the paint and the raw wood meet. And the next step is to use a coping saw to rough out most of the material there. So now I'll set that up. Alright, as I said, for the next step we're going to cut, use a coping saw to cut along that paint profile on the edge of the molding. And as you can see, I'm going to cut just under the painted edge, and I'm going to cut at least, I'm going to attempt to be at least a 45-degree angle. So I'll do a few of my cuts and then hopefully bring it up to the camera so you can see better. So let me see if I can show this to you. So now you no longer see that wooden edge because I've cut the raw wood edge because I've cut it away. And if I flip the piece over somewhat slowly, you can see the rough cutting marks that I made on the underside that have now basically brought that painted edge almost to a point. But if you look carefully, you can still see a little bit of the raw wood. And now I need to move to using a rasp and or, in my case, I like to do a little of this work using a Dremel. So I'll switch to that next. Alright, so when I get to using the Dremel, I use it with a sanding attachment. And the first thing I'm going to do is remove the bulk of the material that I can see from the front side, and then do a little bit on the back side, and I'll explain what I'm doing. So here we go. Okay, so now I've removed just about everything I'm comfortable doing with the Dremel tool. And you can see, you probably could see while I was doing it that I was trying to improve my angle in a few places, how steep my angle was in the back in a few places. So next, we got to move on to a rasp. Okay, so now for all the places I couldn't really reach with the Dremel tool, I'm going to switch to a rasp. And, you know, I'm a little embarrassed to be showing this one because there's joint compound in it that I need to clear off, but still sharp enough to do this job. Well, there you go. And now I've got it pretty much cleaned up, and that's all there is to it. You know, just in total, I've been at this probably far less than 10 minutes because I'm no pro, but I'll go find a scrap and give you a shot of the test fit. All right, let's see if I can now give you a view of a test fit. If I can get the angle right here. How does it go? Maybe this way right here. All right, and so there. You can see the fit, hopefully. If I get the angle about right. And I'll take the scrap piece away again. There you go. So that's all there is to coping a piece of crown molding. You know, as I said, I'm no professional, but I've found that with a little bit of practice, you can do it pretty quickly. I hope it's useful. Take care.